So, my dear listeners, welcome to 2026. And I want to read a little something. I know we're on hiatus, and I'm still on hiatus, till March. And I want to read something that begins at the start of Faithfully Yours, Mozart, The Courtship, the book version. For every neurodivergent person who has ever been left behind by love, I see you. Remember, even Wolfgang was left heartbroken by a liar and a manipulative person in Aloysia Weber. There are many Aloysias in this life who leave us hurting and confused by their foolishness and disrespect of our kind hearts. I pray someday we all find a Constanze to the gentle-hearted Wolfgang Amadeus in us who champions our souls, cherishes our hearts, loves every flaw, every quirk, and every spark of joy we bring to this world. You are worthy of being loved as you are and championed for who you shall always be. You are courageous, creative, kind, and beautifully intelligent. Let no one make you feel inferior. This book is written from the neurodivergent perspective through the eyes of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, who was completely and absolutely a neurodivergent person. His works and words confirm this as such. But while Wolfgang's story is beautifully crafted, it includes tackling tough subjects such as overstimulation, bullying, and autistic meltdowns. Please go into this book knowing it is written by a neurodiverse author with lived experiences, and that it is written for those with similar experiences. I don't know what one thinks when they think of the word neurodivergent, but I think of the word disabled, because disabled, or I should say disability and neurodivergency are the same thing. And in each one of these books, no matter what version you pick up, whether it is the original 2024 and 2025 editions that were published, over the span of 2024 to 2025 to early 2025, with the portrait covers on them, the beautiful, beautiful portrait covers. Each of these books begins with a very similar opening that ultimately says that Faithfully Yours Mozart may depict behaviors and situations through the eyes of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart with the belief that he was neurodivergent in some manner, and ends with Faithfully Yours Mozart is a historical fictional novel that uses outdated terminology due to historical context. Back in the 1780s and earlier, mental health and understanding of disability was beyond comprehension. The science was not there to support formal diagnoses. Please go into this novel with the basics of understanding, that there are old and outdated views on disability in here due to historical context. The author does not condone such things. And, every single book that you will open begins with, Faithfully Yours Mozart may depict behaviors and situations through the eyes of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart with the belief that he was neurodivergent in some manner. The content of each single book is that of a neurodivergent, disabled romance. And let me tell you something. If you do not believe that someone with a disability, whether that's an intellectual disability like autism, or a physical disability like cerebral palsy, or any other kind of disability, because disability is a spectrum. If you sit there and you think that you can gatekeep what makes somebody disabled, what makes somebody an own voices author, which, by the way, includes disabled and autistic authors. Yeah. If you sit there and you think to yourself, and I had this said to me by somebody, and I will elaborate further on why I am making this little thing, I suppose, at some point on one of my many social medias, of which I have several. I will link below and you can follow me on those respective platforms, including Fable. I am now on Fable, which is a book platform. And I will probably make a post about it there as well. If you sit there and you think that you can gatekeep the idea of what disabled fiction is, in particular, disabled romances, you are an idiot. You are a fool. If I always love the example of, we know that the stars and the planets, hydrate, water. Everybody listening now, grab some water. And take a breath after you drink and swallow. We know for a fact that the stars and the planets in our sky have been there for forever. Long before we had the modern day science and astronomy that we have. We know that, Pluto is a planet. Even though people go, oh, but it wasn't discovered until such and such a time. Yes, but it didn't just randomly appear out of nowhere during the date that it was discovered. It was there. It was simply waiting to be discovered. It was simply waiting to have a name. It was named during this particular time, but that does not mean that it came into existence. Just because you finally have a name for something does not mean that ultimately that's when it started to exist. It existed before the label. You just claimed it. You gave it something to call. I've named it, therefore it now exists. No, it existed before you. Autism is the same way. Disability is the same way. And there are many cases throughout history that have been erased, forgotten, left behind, destroyed, purposefully, untouched. And the Faithfully Yours Mozart series is a series of disability through history. There is no Faithfully Yours Mozart without disability. There is no Mozart without autism, or ADHD, or Gillies Tourette syndrome, or whatever you'd like to sit there and think that he possibly had, because we will never really know for sure. But the majority of the fact that there are so many disabled people who relate to Mozart and sit there and go and say, and I have had these conversations, and they have said to me, I feel as if Mozart would understand me. You can sit there and you can laugh. You can sit there and you can go, how is he disabled? How can he be disabled and have love? Would it amaze you to maybe possibly think that his wife was also on the spectrum? She didn't fit into her time either, and people have villainized her. Isn't that funny? And they continue to. Of all the Mozart women that we have ever written about, and you love to tout Nana Roll Mozart, and I could go on a tirade about her. But for all the Mozart women to exist, did you ever think that Constanze possibly could have been a woman on the spectrum? It was suggested to me as such. Maybe she understood her husband best because she was exactly like him. And this is a whole other rant, rabbit trail hole that we are going down. But the point of this little sort of thing, and the reason why I'm bringing this up, is nobody gets to gatekeep what they think disability looks like, and nobody gets to tell you what they think it looks like, in particular in relation to romance and history. It might kill you to know that disabled people actually have feelings and want love and respect and to be seen and accepted for who they are, and that this series was written for those who want that. So, for those who have listened and who continue to give me the most beautiful of rankings on Good Pods and the most beautiful of listenership on Spotify and have bought the books and have left beautiful reviews, I'm going to challenge you this year. If you want to help in any way, shape, or form of the Faithfully Yours Mozart series, leave a review talking about possibly how it touched your heart, somewhere significant, because, and how maybe you related to Mozart if you are so brave, because disability and Mozart matters. This is only the first stepping stone, and I will not lie when I say to you that there are certain people and in this world who would rather sit there and they would prefer that books like this didn't exist in the disabled category. And I have just watched it happen. And it is sad and angering and frustrating. So if you are one of the few beautiful neurodivergent listeners of this project, if you are disabled in some way, if you have picked this up, if you have read this, and you have something to say, say it, because it will take more than my voice in order for people to understand why disability is the heart of this series, and without it, there is no Faithfully Yours Mozart. Its writer is disabled. I don't know how many times I have to say it, but I am, and I am proudly, openly autistic. I always have been. And anything I write shall proudly boast disabled love, disabled heroes, and champion all the things that everybody wants to shut down, destroy, and silence. So, thank you for your time. Faithfully Yours Mozart will return in March, and we are going to be loud, proud, beautifully imperfect, and continue to champion neurodivergent, disabled, autistic, and any form of disabled voices. Thank you.